INFPs, I know, they carry with them the weight of all they've experienced very heavily. They're FI DOMs with SI in the third slot. They've got
Mm.
two functions, the two functions that truly link to the self. You've got to have one of those uh, in your conscious stack, or else you end up being an ENFJ. Um, it's important to have either SI or FI, or else you don't really have a good sense of what it means to be an authentic particular self. Uh, it's challenging anyway. So INFJs, the whole beta quadrant, they don't they don't understand what it means to be an animal. They think of themselves as non-animals, more or less.
Mm.
Their animalness
Mm.
comes through their action, not through their comfort or body feelings. Their animalness comes through their. They don't experience the animalness on the feelings level because they're interfacing. They're not valuing.
Hmm. Okay. Just returning slightly to the NFP, so
Sorry,
INFP,
got off
ENFP.
topic.
No, 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 it's cool. It's cool because I saw where the tangent and why the tangent. Um, I'm just thinking those like NTPs. There's a negationary aspect with the NE with the coupled with the TI. Do you think with NFPs, INFPs, and ENFPs that there's actually a constructive aspect of constructing through emotion and valence and value and belief, coupled with the NE?
ENFPs are a lot different than INFPs. Well, let me just stick with INFPs for another moment. The point is,
Mm.
they feel very clearly that life is heavy. They're not usually afraid to die in the sense of not having had enough time. ISFPs, especially, will
Mm.
be ready to die at the end, and their only concern is they don't want to experience pain in the process.
Hmm.
The reason being, life's hard and heavy. Everything they experience accumulates as weight via FI. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I know an INFP, and that resonates for me. What you're describing, I think I've said to the INFP before that, um, in a friendly way, in a kind way, me saying this, that they seem to make life look harder than it is, um, and that sort of like keys into that weightiness of everything, sort of like returning back to the self and being a stressor, or as you allude to, a heaviness, something which is to be overcome like a burden, as opposed to sort of like having a freedom. Um,
well,
I'm wondering how. Sorry, go on. Go for it.
FI, like SI, locks you into the way things are
Mm-hmm.
because whatever the circumstance is, even if it's a bad one, you value certain aspects of it. So if you're in a bad relationship and you're an
Yeah.
FI Dom, there's certain things you're going to value highly about that person. So it makes,
Mhm.
no matter what you do, whether you get out or stay in, you retain so much more weight from the experience than, say, me when I got out of my second marriage. I was like, whew, I didn't think about it for months. And really, I mean, I didn't feel about it for months. I thought about it periodically, but and it took me a couple months to really feel the weight of the divorce. Well,
Mm.
INFP is going to feel the weight of every excruciating personal severance or loss. It's going to sit with them all the time because those things
Mm.
are the accumulated animal value of investment into somebody or into a relationship, into something.
Mm. That's interesting, actually, because I'm hearing you, I'm seeing you. That resonates with my experiences of others, um, other INFPs. This notion of, yeah, investment. I think it's an interesting term to use, investment and negation. But it's interesting how that links to NTPs and the negationary aspect of knowledge. It seems as though with INFPs there's a negationary aspect of self and relationship in a certain way, a severance that's felt or stored or held onto.
It depends on the
Um,
INFP. If you get
mm,
one that's really healthy, that's raised in the right kind of environment, which are is pretty rare because they're pretty sensitive, you know.
mm,
But they are a different kind of creature. They've got a sense of um, security that
mm,
is less secure still than it should be. Like if you know their circumstances, you see how set up they are and everything. They're still troubled for no reason a little bit, but
yeah.
but they're but they're much more in tune with how to keep their when to display their feelings, when to let their feelings control them, and they have a mechanism by which they say, "Okay, I'm going TE now." It,
Yeah, that's it. Sorry, go on.
yeah, it's
If
just
you,
yeah, I'm sorry too, but it's just the FI dom is so fragile. They gotta be preserved in the right incubator until they're grown up.
yeah, because that's interesting because that actually ties into what I was saying about the innateness or the pattern of the self, and the nurturing or upbringing or whatever it might be, and those two fitting together. The INFP that I know was raised by SJ parents. So you can see how there's this sharp contrast between INFP values, ways of being, authenticity, etc., and SJ values, ways of being, interaction styles, etc. And harm can be caused to the INFP, irrespective of intention by the parental figures. Um, and that's then amped up or magnified by the FI. So it sort of like ties into to what's already been said. With regards to incubation, though, I'm curious, sort of like what is the perfect sort of like parenting? What's the perfect parent to an INFP? Another INFP, or who would it be?
Probably another INFP, plus they're dual. So you get
Mm,
another INFP is one of the parents, and um, ESTJ is the other, maybe, or whatever for the parents.
mm,
I know that I grew up with my dual as one of my parents, and I think
mm,
that that really helped me a lot.
mm.
Being with my dual meant I was complete as a child in a way that most people don't ever get to be.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm curious. This is adding a layer of complexity, but uh, I get what you're saying, but surely it depends on which parent the dual is, and also which parent is the dominating one. Um, no.
Maybe I don't know. I've had my oldest friend who I've had for 43 years. He's also an ISFJ,
Mm,
and we've never stopped being tight. And it's just like, even though he was 4 years older than me, and I was like 4 years old, and we 3 years old, and we started being friends, you know. And you don't really be friends with somebody that much older than you, but we just always hit it off.
mm,
And it reminded me a lot. It reminds me now, in respect of time I'd spent with my mother when I was a child, which was often so rewarding. It was like we'd sit together in the mornings and the night times and chat about random shit, you know.
mm.
And then I was out in the wilderness for 25 years or whatever
Mm,
before finding Kimberly,
mm.
returning to my ISFJ.
Yeah, there's a tenderness, and I'm picking up on yeah tenderness. I think tenderness is the right word in what you're describing.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say that it's got to have a huge impact having a dual as a parent. And it's probably almost for sure going to be a good relationship because duals will tend to improve each other, you know, even if they're parent child.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting.